Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good day to Miss Farisha Nabila binti Muhammad Hamidi. My name is Zulfadli Abu Bakar and my student ID is 202305D0014. Today, I will present on the topic the political economy of global trade. In this presentation, I will explain how politics and economics interact in shaping international trade, the roles of major institutions, and finally, a case study on the Malaysian EU palm oil dispute. Introduction to the political economy of trade. The political economy of global trade refers to how political forces and economic interests influence each other. Trade today is not only about market demand and supply. Governments actively intervene by imposing tariffs, negotiating trade agreements, creating regulations, and sometimes even using trade as a tool of diplomacy or conflicts. In other words, political decisions determine what goods are traded, with whom, and under what conditions. At the same time, economic interests often shape political behavior. This shows the strong link between politics and economics in global trade. Major institutions in global trade. Two institutions play a very important role in global trade: the World Trade Organization (WTO) and the European Union (EU). The WTO acts as a global platform where trade disputes are resolved, negotiations take place, and rules are enforced. For example, the Boeing-Airbus subsidy dispute between the US and the EU was handled through the WTO. Meanwhile, the EU operates as a regional trade bloc of 27 countries. It negotiates trade deals as one entity. Brexit is a good example of how the EU's influence affects not only Europe but global trade as well. Both institutions are powerful, but their influence often reflects the interests of dominant member states. Case study: Malaysia EU palm oil dispute. A clear example of political economy in action is the dispute between Malaysia and the European Union over palm oil. The EU restricted palm oil for biodiesel use, citing environmental concerns such as deforestation and sustainability. Malaysia, however, argued that this move was discriminatory and protectionist since it benefited European crops like rapeseed and sunflower. In 2021, Malaysia filed a complaint against the EU and at the WTO, claiming unfair treatment and violation of free trade principles. Implication of the dispute. This dispute has both political and economic implications. Politically, the EU's decision is tied to its Green Deal and climate change commitments. The EU wants to position itself as a global leader in sustainability. For Malaysia, however, palm oil is not just an export commodity, but also a matter of sovereignty and livelihood for small farmers. Economically, Malaysia's export earnings were affected. As a result, Malaysia redirected its palm oil exports to other markets such as China and India. On the other hand, European industry faced higher costs because they needed to find alternatively biofuel sources. Reflection and learning. Through this project, I learned several important lessons. First, I realized that trade is not only about market access, but also about values, power, and influence. Institutions like WTO and EU can promote cooperation, but they can also become sources of tension. Working on this project gave me different perspective and helped me create a stronger analysis. Of course, I got to face challenges such as scheduling, aligning research, and ensuring equal contribution between my work and at the same time my study. In many ways, this experience reflected real-world trade negotiations where collaboration is necessary but often difficult.